Hey, Lightning, have you heard?
What? No.
No, I've not heard.
The Truck Show. We're gonna show you what we know. We're gonna answer what the truck, 'cause truck rhymes with the Truck Show. We have the lifted, we have the lowered, and everything in between. We'll talk about trucks that run on diesel and the ones that run on gasoline. The Truck Show, the Truck Show, the Truck Show, whoa, whoa.
It's the Truck Show with your hosts, Lightning and Holman.
This episode of the Truck Show podcast, Have You Heard? Is proudly presented by Nissan. With the Frontier, Titan, and Titan XD, Nissan has a truck for every need, along with the legendary Nissan durability. Test drive your next truck at a local Nissan dealer today, or point your browser to nissanusa.com, where you can use the build and price tool to configure a Nissan truck that fits your lifestyle.
And when you're thinking about adding power or improving fuel economy, Banks has over 65 years of experience. Whether it's cold air intakes or exhaust systems, tuning, throttle control, charge air cooling, lubrication components, and much more, no one offers smarter, safer, 50-state emissions-compliant performance parts than Gale Banks. You'll find the best engineered parts for your truck at bankspower.com.
And when you're looking for quality, full synthetic lubrication for your truck, AMSOIL has you covered with motor oil, lubricants and protectants, grease, additives, and more. AMSOIL synthetic lubricants deliver wear protection, engine cleanliness, and fuel efficiency that conventional oils simply can't match. Find out how AMSOIL synthetic lubricants can save you money and time by helping your vehicles run better and last longer than with conventional oils at AMSOIL.com. When it comes to lubrication, AMSOIL, the first in synthetics.
EGR now celebrating their 50th anniversary as a leading manufacturer of truck and SUV accessory products with headquarters right here in the good old US of A. As an Australian-owned, family-run business with humble beginnings, EGR is now a global leader in the automotive accessory industry. If you're looking for window visors, fender flares, tonneau covers, lights, hood guards, and more, you'll find them all at EGRUSA.com.
Lightning, have you heard?
No. 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 Hell no. 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 No.
No, I have not.
You know, one of those vehicles that I've always wanted that I could never have.
I don't know what that would be.
There's a handful, like a Ram SRT10 would be on that list, like the vehicles that passed us by. Another one would be a 92 GMC Typhoon. And just so turns out that our friends over at Hot Wheels are launching a 1/64th scale model that has a Spectraflame True Black paint job, 5-spoke real rider wheels, a full metal chassis, light smoke tinted windows, and a cool gray interior colorway. And the hood even pops open to reveal the turbocharged V6 that's hiding underneath. Sounds like Mattel's going to implement a limit of 2 purchases per customer. And they note that the items and dates are subject to change at any time, and that even though it may be in your shopping cart, it may not be available for purchase. So,
interesting. So it's going to be super limited edition.
It's super limited. It's kind of funny because...
it feels like a Supreme drop. You know, like on Thursday, we're like, I got to have that shirt with this colorway, and you get it in your shopping cart, and it's like gone. You can't actually check out.
And just so any of you don't know what a Typhoon is, and it's funny because the license plate is P-hoon on the back.
P-hoon?
Foon?
I don't know.
Typhoon? It's Foon.
Oh, yeah.
This is Foon, not P-hoon. It's Foon. Those of us who grew up in that era, it was a badass. It had like a 500-pound payload, which means that Lightning and I technically could not be inside of it with clothes on and full tummies from Wiener Schnitzel or In-N-Out.
That's not true. I don't know what you weigh, but it could be both of us.
It would be barely both of us. Yeah. We'd have to take off our jackets.
I don't weigh 250.
You do after In-N-Out.
No, I don't. I'm
telling you, I don't. Double. Anyway, the 4.3-liter V6, which was the LB4 gas engine, had a Mitsubishi turbo on it, an intercooler strapped on it. It had all sorts of stuff done to it. Special pistons, main caps, head gaskets, intake manifolds, fuel system, exhaust manifold. It made 280 horsepower and 360 pound-feet of torque, which was a monstrous amount of power for its day. It had all-wheel drive, and there's the Cyclone pickup truck, which was the pickup equivalent. Both were freaking awesome. Back then, they hit 0 to 60 in 5.3 seconds and ran the quarter in 14.1 at 95. So, like, that doesn't sound crazy fast today, But back then, it was basically
For a pickup truck?
Super. Well, this was this was the SUV, but it was basically the 300ZX territory and Chevy Corvettes, and it was a crappy SUV because they were not built well at all. And
the interior would fall apart as you're
accelerating, and it would creak and stuff. They're special. They're rad. I still 10 out of 10 would grab one, even if I realized how janky and rough running they were.
You and I, didn't we see like one of that era at we were at TMI.
Oh, yeah.
And it was one of the guys had like one of the trucks of that era, and it was just all the plastic was falling apart.
No, cracking and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for one, head on over to creations.mattel.com, and you can pick up your own 92 GMC Typhoon.
Well, you can try, but you might not get one.
Hey, Lighting, have you heard?
No, negative.
So according to internet reports, Ford has brought out a Maverick-based small van to replace the Transit Connect at a secret dealers meeting.
Really?
Which makes a
I
lot of
love
sense.
the Transit Connect.
Well,
and I was bummed when it went away.
I think you'd love it even more if it was based on the chassis that is shared with the Bronco Sport, the Escape, and the Maverick. Seems like a no-brainer to me. Why wouldn't you have that? Especially because you've got at least two different wheelbase lengths. I'm sure you would have a tall roof, and I think a lot of people miss having that little van. And I think that vehicle is probably better than the Transit Connect, which was originally built in Turkey, had to be disassembled to be brought over here and reassembled because of the chicken tax. And then I think the last generation was built in Spain. The Maverick is built in Hermosillo, Mexico. And so
they're going to have to take it apart in Mexico and then bring it over here in parts and reassemble it?
They're good to go, I think, when you build them in Mexico. So do you think a Ford compact van would catch on? I do.
100%. Absolutely.
Well, think about this. The Transit Connect didn't have an all-wheel drive chassis component that I know about. Obviously, this does. So two things come to mind. If Ford did a compact van, they could do one with a trail package on it for the van lifers. So now you can have an off-road small van to go.
That's really small, though.
No, not if you had a high roof. You could stand up in it.
Well, you one person.
No, it's fine.
Two people stacked on each other.
Who cares?
Bunk beds.
My point is you could have an all-wheel drive small van that could go off-roading.
Yeah.
Because there's already an off-road package for everything else on the chassis. The other thing that comes to mind is all-wheel drive capability for snowy and inclement climates and things like that. So to me, it sounds like that would be the way to go. And it's a hybrid. You can get it with either the 2-liter EcoBoost or the 2.5-liter hybrid powertrain. So it sounds like thered be a lot of flexibility, and I'm pretty sure Ford would bring that out if given a positive response from dealers, and I'm guessing that was a hell yes.
Yeah.
Hey, Lightning, did you hear?
No, I don't think so.
So apparently a Tesla Semi flew off the highway, Interstate 80 in California.
Oh, I did hear about this one. Burst into flames.
Yeah, through the Sierra Nevada mountains, and it basically was because of the remoteness, the firefighters couldn't fight it. They didn't have the resources they needed, so they just let it burn down. So I wonder what the failure was. It doesn't say. Didn't say if anybody was injured in it. Just that the smoke was toxic, and the firefighters had to wear their apparatus complete with the breathing tanks and all that kind of stuff. Is it something that has, obviously electric vehicles have regen. They don't have a Jake brake or anything. Mm-hmm. Did something fail? Did the driver fall asleep? We think with all the technology, maybe that wouldn't be possible. Weird.
Who
but
knows?
The thing is, that massive battery, I mean, it has to be several times the size of a standard Tesla battery.
I mean, and the poor firefighters are going to have to go through all sorts of new training. And the bummer is they don't know. Did you see that one where the guys rolled up on the car and they didn't know that it was either hydrogen or CNG? They were trying to put out the fire in it, and it exploded.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
Yeah. Oh, my. It was like a freaking bomb. Dude, it was a big bomb. Put a bunch of the firefighters in hospital. It was crazy because there was no markings on the vehicle. They didn't know.
Yeah, that's
so
no good.
This is I think we're going to see more of this. I hope we don't. I hope we don't. But I think we're going to see more cars on fire where the firefighters roll up and they don't know it's electric right away. I don't know how they're going to tell on some of these vehicles. The charging ports aren't like immediately obvious in some of these, because could it be a charging port? Could it be with the gas door? If I'm a firefighter, you might take a pause before you roll right up to the car.
Hey, Lighting, have you heard?
I mean, no.
Remember how we keep saying, hey, it's the end of the V8 and last chance and all that? And we reported that Jeep said, well, maybe for 2025 we'll do another 392 final final edition. Apparently, the Durango Hellcat Silver Bullet is going to be the final Hellcat product.
Maybe final. Right.
It's going to get the special edition, and it's going to cost you a lot of money. So,
like how much?
Hellcat ain't dead yet. The Durango Hellcat Silver Bullet is a shade of silver called triple nickel. Which is a little bit funny.
Yeah.
The hood will be satin black, and then it gets black exhaust tips and gray metallic badging, 20-inch wheels, and you get what's called a paint color called Lights Out, which is a very dark shade of gray. And then they've got 6-piston Brembo brakes with red calipers. The inside gets ebony red Napa leather seats.
Oh, that's cool.
Embroidered seat backs with the Hellcat logo, carbon fiber trim, suede for the steering wheel and the headliner. So, super classed up, and then it's mechanically unchanged from the standard one. So that means 710 horsepower, all-wheel drive, 8-speed automatic, 7 drive modes, launch control, all that kind of good stuff.
Good-looking beast.
I mean, it's awesome. So
and that's going to set me back how much?
And you can also get the 2025 Durango RT 20th Anniversary Edition, which celebrates 20 years of the Durango having a Hemi V8. That's also going to be available.
That'll cost how much?
Specific badging, a hood graphic, 20-inch forged wheels, a tow and go package, Brembos, active exhaust, 8,700-pound tow rating.
I'm going to cut a check for how many zeros?
Oh, for which one?
The first one, the final edition with the black and red interior.
The Durango RT 20th Anniversary Edition, $70,470. Isn't too bad, I guess, considering. However, the Durango Hellcat Silver Bullet has a starting price, not including destination charge, of $85,113,325. You better do another one of those cash register sounds, because that sucker's going to put you back.
Dude, that was painful.
Yeah, it's about to be.
That's a lot. Hey, Lighting, have you heard?
What? No.
No.
If you like a big old body-on-frame SUVs, you might fall in love with the 2025 Lincoln Navigator, which in its mid-cycle action, or the mid-cycle refresh as some call it, it gets second-row massaging seats.
Who's buying that
and
thing
a
anyway?
completely new dash that has end-to-end screen. So basically...
No, seriously, who's the customer for this thing?
Rich people.
But if you're rich, you're buying a G-Wagon, or you're buying...
A Navigator.
You're not buying a Navigator.
There's a lot of them out there.
But
you are if you're a livery service.
How many livery services are there?
Enough to support the Navigator, apparently.
This is not something that... I don't know. Are you rich? Would you buy one of these? truckshowpodcast@gmail.com. Or would you buy a foreign
Why are
vehicle?
you hating when it has a 28-speaker sound system?
I'm not saying that it's not cool. I'm saying it's like, if you have that money, you're not buying a Lincoln.
But why do you care what people buy?
I don't care what people buy.
Clearly you do. It has a 440 horsepower, 3.5-liter EcoBoost V8.
I'm not telling people not to buy it. I'm just saying
The screen is 48 inches long. 48 inches of screens.
Damn.
Whole thing's a screen.
Wow, that's kind of neat.
So now you're like, 28 speakers.
But I'm still, if I have baller money, I'm not buying a Lincoln.
It's pretty damn good looking.
The only way you're doing that is if you're an old golfer. You're just the old white dude.
Why an old
white dude buys a Lincoln? Does anyone under 40 even know what a Lincoln is?
Does anybody under 40 have the money to buy a $150,000 SUV?
Yes, there's some .com
Not
guys.
anybody I know. Okay. How many of those can support a Lincoln Navigator? Lighting?
Just saying, dude.
I'm just saying back to you. 24s from the factory. Why? You think you'd be all over that?
I'm not saying that it's not cool, but you don't even consider a Lincoln if you've got baller money.
You might consider this one because it's 48-inch screen and 28 speakers.
Well, I'm hoping that this turns a new leaf for Lincoln.
That's where you're going with. That's it.
I mean, I'm just saying that. Let's see if they attract a new audience. Because otherwise, you're not talking about. It's like, man, I just sold my app company. I built the next Angry Birds, and I made $30 million. I need an SUV that's bitching.
Maybe you don't want to be a pretentious Range Rover prick. Maybe you don't want to be a Escalade rapper. Maybe you are just a 40-year-old white guy, and you're like, yeah, Lincoln, brother.
All right.
Why you gotta hate?
Truck Show Podcast@gmail.com.
Listen, it's a bargain. The Black Label L 116.
Okay.
What's the Navigator, or what's a Escalade now? Like 120 or something like that?
Yeah, the supercharged one is like $150.
Starts at $85,260. I'm spending other people's money here. I could never afford that, but
Right.
it's pretty nice looking. Finally got a grill that's decent. Yeah, that's the worst thing about Lincolns. They can't figure out their nose forever. And now I'm like, yeah, okay, that's cool. Hey, Lighting, have you heard?
I don't watch the news because I'm a kid.
Oh, by the way, you saw that guy.
Yeah, he's
Interviewed him. He's like 17 now.
Yeah, and I saw the video, but I didn't have a chance to watch. Is it
I
funny?
didn't care. No, I didn't care. I
What's
was like,
why don't you care?
Well, no, because he's old now. I mean,
You don't care about like where he is now?
No.
You don't think that there's some K-Rock special of where he is now, and they're like, hey, where's Lightning? And he's like sitting in some dude's backyard talking about trucks. That's what he's.
There was a
doing
kid when we were little. There was a Crest toothpaste commercial, and there was a little boy in it, and he's doing his he made brushing his teeth or whatever. His name was Doug, apparently Dougie, and I worked with him, and his nickname at the radio station was Doug the Crest Boy.
Why wouldn't you just call him Toothpaste?
Yeah, he was Doug the Crest Boy.
That's stupid.
That was
a lot of
on-air name.
syllables.
Yep, but that's what you. That's. I mean, he was
I'd be
the
like,
Crest
hey,
Boy.
Toothpaste, get over here.
He stole CDs out of the music library, and we fired him.
Well, Doug's a thief, apparently. Go to hell, Doug.
It's a true story, sadly.
Hey, Lighting, I don't know if I said this or not because you sidetracked me with Doug, but have you heard?
No.
No, you didn't. Okay, well, that's good to know. Toyota could convert all of its North American vehicles to hybrids.
What? No, really?
All of
That's
them.
Unfortunate.
I think people see it coming. I'd rather have hybrids than pure EVs, I think.
Yeah, okay, yeah, good point.
So I'm good with it. Who knows? Maybe they will, maybe they won't. They'll have to replace all those Tundra hybrid engines first. Hey, Lightning, did you hear?
No.
Ram is coming out with a new special edition. The 2024
Will it have a V8?
Ram 2500 HD Rebel and Power Wagon, and they're calling it the Lunar Edition.
Well, so it's gray.
It's not exactly gray.
What is it then? Cementish?
Would be ceramic gray.
Oh. Ceramic is very, very light.
It's a ceramic gray.
Okay.
So now that 2024 is the kind of the end of the heavy-duty trucks as we know it, because the 2025s are coming with a redesign, Ram's decided that they're going to, quote-unquote, celebrate its biggest rigs with Earth's only natural satellite, the moon. Like, what?
I don't understand the tie-in.
Yeah, I don't either. Ceramic gray paint job, lunar vinyl graphics on the lower body and gloss black, 33-inch tires, black tow mirrors, black powder-coated bumpers, black wheel flares, body-colored badging, premium LED lights. Power Wagon, of course, gets the 6.4-liter Hemi V8 with 410 horse and 429 pound-feet of torque, while the Rebel Heavy Duty will get 20-inch wheels. And, of course, the 6.7 Cummins will be available as well with 370 horsepower and 850 pound-feet of torque. And
what transmission? Do we know?
Yeah, the regular transmission.
Oh.
That comes with it.
Okay.
The Aizen's only in the high output. This isn't the high output.
Okay.
That's
Didn't know
why
if they were going to upgrade them all.
That's why it's 850 pound-feet of torque and not 1,000 something.
Got it.
And then standard coil spring rear suspension, optional air ride. Of course, if you get the air ride truck, maximum payload jumps up to 3,690 pounds.
Okay.
Which is pretty healthy.
Yeah, stout.
So there's surf blue contrast stitching for the black leather seating surfaces. There's twill film accents on the doors, instrument panel, and center console.
By all accounts, this looks, aesthetically, it's a good-looking truck.
Oh, it's a great-looking truck.
It is. I'm looking at your photos now. That's a great-looking HD.
I think the Power Wagon wheels look great, too. Although it makes me mad because the old Power Wagon, the original Power Wagon, had forged wheels, and they changed them to cast a long time ago. I just wish they kept the forged wheels because that was part of Power Wagon.
I don't remember the design style on the forged wheels.
Polished five-spoke.
Okay.
Just a perfect, simple, classic wheel that was forged for strength. Hey, Lightning, have you heard?
No, I haven't.
Tesla's keeping its promise, and it's got a range-extending option for the Cybertruck.
By how many miles?
So here's the deal. It's a box that apparently bolted to the bed, and it's capable of adding 120 miles of range to the Cyber Beast and 130 miles to the all-wheel drive, which raises the potential driving range to just short of the promised 500 to around 470.
Okay.
So
still pretty good for a truck that big.
It's funny because, like, when you go to the Starlink website, which is where I got my Mini, very little information on anything. And they have all these accessories like a cable, a mount, and I'm trying to figure out what I need. And it's all one picture that's CGI, and there's like no details and just nothing. There's no reviews. It's like as stark as it can be, kind of like a Tesla interior.
Which is so weird because you need to know that stuff when you're making a purchase.
So Elon responds in a X, I don't know what you call them, an X tweet. It says, optional pack that fits in about a third of the truck bed, still room for plenty of cargo, meant for very long trips or towing heavy things up mountains, is what he says. But it's like, that's got to be a super heavy pack. You're not going to be lifting it in and out. Like, you're putting it in and that's it. So I don't really understand that. And there just isn't a lot of information on the website either. So I don't know. So there's one image that
What does it weigh? Where does it go?
Right, exactly. So I looked on the website, and there's one photo, and it looks like a toolbox that has the same pattern of ribs that the floor of the Cybertruck does. That fits at the bulkhead at the front.
So like a giant toolboxes, or just a little handheld?
No, a giant box.
Let me see that. Oh, you're right. It's just that takes up about half of the bed.
Yeah, it's probably less than half, but
it's close.
It's going to cost $16,000.
What you talking about, Willis?
So I guess it's available for pre-order now, but with a $500 deposit. And Tesla says, you get priority installation. So it can't be installed at home. Apparently, it has to be installed by them. It'll be available in early 2020.
Well, you're going to have big cables that need to go through the floorboard or
unless
the bulk.
you don't know what the Cybertruck has. They may have connections right there for
like
it.
some ports already for it.
Sure, it was designed for it.
You never know.
It's Tesla. They're not stupid. They're just obtuse, which is super irritating when you have to work with them. It's like, I want to like things about them, but then they make it so difficult because they're like, hey, imagine stuff. Anyway, so if you have a Cybertruck and you want that and you've got like 16 grand, you could trade the weight of 16 grand and trade for a battery pack. Hey, Lightning, have you heard?
No.
Our friends over at Nikola posted smaller than expected losses. Apparently, their hydrogen truck has been in quote-unquote robust demand.
I've seen more and more on the freeways going back and forth because I'm near the port of Long Beach, and they're making short jaunts to and from pulling trailers.
Apparently, they beat Wall Street's expectations, and they said that there was a smaller than expected adjusted loss, signaling an uptick in deliveries for their hydrogen trucks. And shares of Nikola rose 17% in early trading after the news. So
what I'm hearing, though, Holman, is that to get hydrogen is extremely difficult.
Yes.
Toyota had invested in infrastructure for the Mirai.
Yep.
But for some reason, that didn't really come to fruition. There aren't the stations that they had planned. So, like, if you have a hydrogen vehicle, it's crazy difficult to fill up.
It's not easy. It's not like filling up with gas or plugging in a cord. So for those of you who watch stocks, the company reported an adjusted loss per share of $2.67, smaller than the average analyst estimate of around $2.85. They recently signed Walmart Canada as a big customer in June, and they've already delivered a hydrogen semi-truck. So the company's cash and equivalent stood at $256.3 million in the quarter, compared with $345.6 million in the previous 3 months. So that doesn't sound like a lot of cash, like less than $1 billion for a company that's in like advanced technology like that. But anyway, always interested to see what they're up to.
Yeah, Trevor Milton's got to be rolling over in his grave.
Oh, I think there's lawsuits going on and stuff. It's ugly. Yeah. Tried to get on the board, and it's hostile takeover.
See, I said grave as if he's dead, but he's not.
He's not.
Yeah.
He's definitely not. Hey, Lightning, have you heard?
No.
One last fun story. Could Ford's Bronco Sport get a beefed up off-road package? So there's rumors saying...
Would it matter? Because it's still a sport.
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
really?
Talking about it could get a Sasquatch upgrade, which is the name of the cool package on the full-size Bronco. And I think there's lots of people out there. There's already people out there lifting their Bronco Sports and Mavericks and shoving bigger tires and trying to do more with less. And it's kind of a nice little alternative to like the Subaru all-wheel drive crowd. Mm-hmm. And if you could get it closer to a real off-roader from a standpoint of like traction and drivetrain, they're great. But, obviously it's not going to be able to do Jeep type things or even Bronco type things. But
you can't get the same crazy articulation. Right?
No, and ground clearance is never going to be the same, and it's never going to be as robust because it's a unibody.
But it's a little trail.
I've got one of my family friends. She has one, and she has taken it up gnarly trails all over Colorado and Utah, and goes camping, and she absolutely loves it. They're pretty darn good for what they are. So I would get behind a Sasquatch upgraded Bronco Sport, and Ford has kind of teased on their Instagram that on August 26th something big and muddy in the woods has been spotted, and it's the back of a Bronco Sport. So I'm excited to see what it is.
Okay, I think so. My dad owns one. We should get a review from my father on the little Bronco Sport.
He owns one? What year?
He's had it for about 2 years.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. Well,
he color matched everything, so it looks like a little sportier.
Okay.
But he didn't get any of the fancy packages.
It's just an unfancy Bronco Sport.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And then he had a wrap put on the front clip.
Yeah.
The guy did an awful job.
So he didn't ask you first who to go to?
No, he did.
He didn't go to Brian at SoCal?
Nope, he did. He asked me, and I go, you need to go to me. He goes, I don't want to drive to Chino.
Well, then you should have driven to Chino for your dad. Hey, I'll take your car for you. I'll make it happen.
It happens all the time. My dad just gets stuff done. He had to have the stereo worked on. He spent way too much. They're like, oh, it's an old guy, and they ripped him off. Like, it was classic. He went into a car stereo shop where he lives.
But is he happy?
And no, they totally screwed it up. And they charged him a fortune.
No, but is he happy? Does it work? And he's like, oh, whatever, I have the money?
It does now after I fixed it.
Oh, interesting.
I literally had to go down to the house and fix what the car stereo guy botched and charge him $900
Did he go back and say,
job.
What'd you do?
Yeah, and the guy just argued with him it was a bad scene. Just totally took advantage of the old people.
I would have just called my credit card company and said, hey, reverse those charges.
Yeah.
Dispute. But what's not in dispute is the fact that this episode is over.
Thank God. The Truck Show Podcast is a production of Truck Famous LLC. This podcast was created by Sean Holman and Jay Tillis with production elements by DJ Omar Khan. If you like what you've heard, please open your Apple Podcast or Spotify app and give us a 5-star rating. And if you're a fan, there's no better way to show your support than by patronizing our sponsors. Some vehicles may have been harmed during the making of this podcast.